Hey there, fellow travelers of the cinematic cosmos. I'm your guide, Joseph Charafi, and I'm here to invite you to ride shotgun on a wild journey we call Flashback Montage. On this trip, we'll plunge headfirst into the glorious chaos of film, TV, and the strange tales of lifestyle coaches who have shifted the tides of human consciousness. In each episode, we'll storm the gates of a different year, exploring the psychedelic depths of the stories that made us weep, laugh, and redefine the American dream. So my friends, throw your aviator glasses on, grab some popcorn, and buckle up for a mind-bending escapade. Subscribe to Flashback Montage on YouTube, and together we'll dance with the ghosts of our favorite celluloid memories. See you on the other side. Welcome to Flashback Montage, the podcast where we take a trip down memory lane and revisit some of the most iconic movies, TV shows, and cultural moments of the past. I'm your host, Joseph Charafi, and each week I'll be joined by a special guest as we dive into a specific year and explore the highlights of that time. From the blockbusters that defined an era to the shows that kept us glued to our screens, we'll relive the nostalgia and celebrate the classics that still hold up today. We won't just be talking about entertainment. We'll also take a little time to talk about lifestyle coaches who have inspired and influenced us and how their impact can still be felt in our lives today. So it's a journey through time that will make you laugh, reminisce, and maybe even shed a tear. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's take a trip back in time with Flashback Montage. This week's special guest is, he was a writer, he's an actor, he's producing now too, and he's a personal friend of mine. Raf, would you please give them a little bit of background about who you are and what your interests are? And thank you so much for being here.
Yes, hi there. My name is Raf Adame. Thank you for having me on your show, Joey. And, I'm a product of the 50s, believe it or not. I was born in 59, and I've always, I don't know, there was always something about television and acting and drama that attracted me to where I guess I'm currently at now. I have always been one of those guys that love to come home and watch Gilligan's Island or Cannon, or Banyan, and so that kind of just stuck with me over the years, and Dirty Harry type movies, and so here I am playing lawyers, attorneys, doctors, you name it, as an actor, and I love it. I'm really enjoying it.
That's the best part about acting, isn't it? That you get to kind of go into these different worlds and kind of become a pseudo master of whatever it is that your character does for however long you're in it.
Yeah, it's really an amazing feeling. I just played a coroner just the other day, and it's you have to know, you have to have the feel and the look, and you have to know kind of like. That you're a corner in order for that role to play out. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I mean, you have to like kind of feel it inside of you, and that's for any role really. You can't just say that you're going to do a role. You have to feel the role, and then you have to kind of dive in and make the role and create it for yourself to custom fit your mold.
Wow. That's really, I have a question because we have a bit of a work relationship, and I would like to say friendship is that, could you tell any actors maybe out there that are dealing with, maybe the fear of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a job. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And how you took, any feelings like that, if you did have any, and how you kept moving forward, and how now you have seemed to pick up steam in picking up projects and people wanting to work with you. And so how can you give any young actors out there, or even, older actors that are still dealing with this?
Well, when I got into acting, I kind of took a different approach. I started out with background as a background actor, extra, and I didn't like it, but I kind of liked it, So I thought, I want to get into this, find out what it's about, and once I got into a role, I told myself, and I remember this to this day, I told myself, I want to find out if I'm a good actor. And if I'm not a good actor, then I don't want anything to do with it. I remember telling myself that if I'm not good at this, then I have no business being in it. And so when I found out that I had what it took to be an actor, it was like the whole gates of heaven just opened up. I knew right away that I had this gift. And so when I see an actor, I see what they're doing in their dream, I question sometimes some of these young actors whether they really are there for the right reasons. Are they there because everybody else is doing it, or are they there because they really feel a passion inside their heart that they know that they can do this? And my question is that question that I questioned myself is, if I know that I have what it takes to be an actor, I'm going to go all out. If I know that I'm not a good actor, then I'm not going to get involved. But I don't know how these actors approach this. A lot of these actors, they have a dream and they want to get in, and they come to find out that they don't have what it takes. So
how would you know? Can you give us a little heads up of like how in your own personal journey of what could an actor do to sort of find out if they can handle this business or whatnot, if they got the chops?
Well, it's going that extra mile. And I remember the first time I was out there as an actor, I didn't want to take acting lessons. I didn't think that I needed them, right? And so once I realized that I needed them, I made the effort. When I first dove in and was given my first assignment, which was to read A Streetcar Named Desire, which I had never even read a book, okay? And here my acting coach is telling me, I want you to read the entire book of Streetcar Named Desire. I'm like, okay. So I did. I read that book from beginning to end, and I tried to really just focus on what I was doing because I knew I was on a mission, and that was to find out, do I have what it takes to be a good actor? And that first assignment was so important because that paved the way for the rest of my journey. Reading that first book of Streetcar Named Desire gave me the opportunity to be able to just open up a book, any book, and break down a scene, any scene within a script, within any script that you give me, being able to break down a scene and being able to act out on that scene. That is the sign of a good actor, to be able to do that. But it takes a lot of hard work on you as the person. You can't just show up, and you have to do the homework.
Wow, that's amazing. So make sure to tell when you're telling, if we can tell young actors that they need to go above and beyond, that they need to be there, do their assignments, read those books, know their lines, show that they want to be there. And then I think for me as a director, what I think is what I look for in a good actor, especially like a lead actor, is can they be a leader on set and off set? Are they able to, as actors are very emotional beings, they have to go from different spectrums of moods, but to be able to deal with an actor who can operate those moods and then still come back and hold space for you as a director, that's amazing too, because that's when you can really work on certain things. Sometimes actors will be too much into their emotions and then they're not available to discuss. So a leader on and off set. I love what you said about an actor going above and beyond, like really know who your character is. Just because it's like, let's say it's a short or a commercial or something like that. Dive in, find out who this character is and really live from there, and have a good attitude.
Yes, it's the little things. It's the little things. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
The attitude. It's the little things though. But I mean, when an acting coach tells you that you better know what back to one or how to face the camera when you're doing an over the scene shot, you as an actor better know that, and you better not wait for the director to tell you, because then that's the sign of a weak actor that didn't come prepared.
Yeah.
So it's just those little things that count, that are so important for an actor.
Amazing. So just, I guess, a quick run through of kind of how do you think that movies and TV shows have shaped civilization, but not just civilization in general, but also your own civilization of your own heart?
I guess I don't follow the question.
Sorry, that was a little bit too artistic and poetry. Just, I guess, in a quick kind of wrap up, because we're about to move into the next segment, how have movies and TVs affected you personally that have warranted deep, like, change? Like, what levels of art can even movies, like movies, I feel like trump so many different pieces of art, paintings or drawings or sculptures, a single picture. Moving pictures and TV shows, in the sense, can get through huge masses of amounts of messages and points, So what about movies and TV shows are special place in your heart?
Well, it's for me being able to see what took place in the 70s. Going back, like coming home from school and watching Gilligan's Island and all those Sanford
Yeah,
and
you
Son
mentioned
and
that. Yeah.
Flip Wilson and all that, and then
O'Bannon.
later on going into some of the movies that took place in the 70s, 80s, 90s, The Godfather,
Yes. Yes.
uh, you know, Billy Jack comes into mind. I don't know why. That was one of my favorite movies back from the 70s. But there's just so many different types of movies that are going on right now. I'm watching this movie called Beef. The series, the episode called Beef. It's just really just mind-boggling, and you just would never think that you would see something like this of somebody just completely losing it. But it's what represents America right now. It's what
Right.
it's what people are dealing with right now. In that era of time that I was growing up, we were dealing with something totally different back then, and it was trying to perfect the art of the movie, whereas now the movie has already been perfected. We're beyond that, and we're at a different stage in our lives where the creativity that these directors have, it takes it to a different level.
Yeah, than other movies like The Godfather, or like where they were just kind of understanding and figuring out the mold. You know what I mean? And
They
now
figured everything out.
now
for
the
us.
mold is kind of, it's pretty much there, and you can kind of break it at certain points and do things with it, like Anywhere Everywhere All at Once sort of does. They can kind of shift things a little, but you're right, it's like we've got the technology now to make photoreal computer programs, and so now it's like we can tell storytelling to a whole new level. That's crazy. Okay, so you think movies and TV shows personally have affected you as an art form, as a person?
Yeah, I believe so. When I was married, I guess I was kind of colorblind. I was so worried about my marriage that I didn't really concentrate on what was going on with everything else around me. And so when I had my divorce, I decided to kind of like go and discover America, right? And so I got on this exploration mode, and I became a photographer, and I found out that I'm a really good photographer, and I really enjoy when I go out on my explorations, which, first of all, I never had any intentions of doing before I was married. I never had that mode in me to go and say, okay, I'm going to go explore a mine out in an abandoned ghost town. I would have said hell no to that back 5 years ago. Today, I'm like ready, willing, and able, and I've got my iPhone. I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to start finding out how good a photographer I really am. I'm taking some online courses, but
Nice.
But yeah, the media it's allowed me to open up this whole new world into my life that revolves around going out and taking beautiful pictures of places that I've never been to, and kind of like putting it out there,
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
and people love it. People love my
I do.
I'm finding out that
I know
people
I
love
do.
my pictures.
Well, I
And
know that your photography is great. I love seeing you go to these places and on Facebook, posting, these abandoned, caves and ghost towns. It's all very cool. I love seeing it. It gets
yeah,
me excited.
and so I really like that, I'm beginning to see, when you see movie and when you see episodes on Netflix and how that interacts with what you're seeing now. It makes
Mm-hmm.
sense
Mm-hmm.
with what you're doing and what you're seeing. Kind of like it coagulates into this. It just makes things more. You have a wider lens
Mm.
that you didn't have before.
Oh, wow, that's a great point. Is that movies and general TV shows can actually widen your scope of experience by just watching somebody go through slavery. You can kind of understand a little bit closer of what maybe they gone through. That's pretty powerful. Thank you, Raf. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the next area. We're gonna go and talk about your top 5 favorite TV shows and your top 5 favorite movies of all time. So we'll start from your 5 down to your 1. So 1 is going to be the most important, your most favorite one. So let's go ahead and start. What is your top 5? On your 5 spot for movies, what is it going to be? Let us know.
For
And don't go
movies?
too fast because we're going to go nice and slow and savor it.
Are we talking movies or
Feature films.
shows?
Feature films, movies.
Okay. Number 5.
And it could be from any year. It doesn't need to be from any particular year.
Number 5. Let's. Can we do with the TV shows first?
Let's do TV shows first then. Yeah.
Okay. My number 5 is Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh wow, nice with Larry David. Tell me why you
Yeah.
like Curb.
Well, it all started with Seinfeld,
Yes.
which is my number 4.
Oh, don't go too fast now. Come on now.
Okay.
We have no show if you go too fast.
So when I started watching Seinfeld, I didn't know who Larry David was, and so after Seinfeld had finished, I really just was like, wanted to find out more. And then, as it turns out, Larry David started his show Curb Your Enthusiasm, which aired and it's still airing as of today. I don't know how many seasons he's got now, but I just really loved it. The whole slapstick of what an asshole he was or is to everyone around him, but they still love him, and it's like it's just fascinating.
Do you remember watching Curb Your Enthusiasm for the first time?
Gosh, yes. For the first time, yes. It was like, as I was saying, I was watching I had like a whole library of the Seinfeld, the whole prodigy of it. Every single episode was in this thing, and then and so when Curb Your Enthusiasm came out on HBO, it was a big deal. It was a real big deal. And so I was watching it, and that first season it was hilarious because him and his buddy, I mean, they just meshed together. It was just amazing. They had worked together before in the past, so that kind of helped out. Jeff his name is
Garland?
Jeff.
Jeff Garland, I think.
Yes, and I mean, just a funny guy, and so it worked really well and blended well with the both of them.
Nice.
So
Amazing.
I just watched and watched and watched, and it was very successful. And it was just a really cool way of, because you didn't get this on regular TV. You had to go to HBO, and so it was kind of like a cool thing, Back then, that was the start of HBO and getting all these other shows to be really popular, like what Netflix is today. Larry David had a lot to do with that.
I agree. My mom was a huge fan of that, and then I got into it as I was older. It's some solid stuff. All right, so your number 4, you kind of mentioned it before, but why don't you go ahead and make it official?
Yeah, so Curb Your Enthusiasm was number 5. Seinfeld was number 4.
So now Seinfeld. Let's go into Seinfeld. This is a classic show. This is something. It's a piece by the comedian, superstar Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, writing about just kind of what it's like for a normal day, right? Kind of just like what people talk about, just kind of BS about life. What was it about Seinfeld? Yes, it was a phenomenon, but for you, what was it about Seinfeld that drew you in and kept you there?
Well, it was just the whole cast was they were all different, but I really related more to George more than anyone because he was kind of like the guy that was kind of hard to fit in with everybody else, and kind of through my whole high school career, I never fit in with anybody, so I kind of related to George in a big way, and I used to watch it because he would kind of like worm his way so that he can get all the attention, and it was just amazing how he would just make it work for him. When he was out there doing the blowhole thing with the whale, and telling everybody how he was an architect, and I mean it was that simple. Yeah, I'm an architect, and to make you look like you're a special guy when you're just really nobody. So. Seinfeld was just one of them shows that it was a can't miss show. And not everybody can relate to Seinfeld. I know friends of mine that absolutely hate it, that never even watched it. And then I know people that watched it religiously just like I did. I was a big fan.
Yeah, Seinfeld. I gotta say, Seinfeld is a classic. It's a pillar of television history. Absolutely, that's a great pick. All right, what's your top three?
So then from there, before that, my third was the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh wow! Tell us why. Give us a little bit about the show and why it was influence for you.
Well, Larry Sanders, it's kind of a special show for me because I was living in LA at the time when I had some friends, and they were the ones that kind of like really introduced me into acting and the whole showbiz thing. We used to we would like sneak into Dodger Stadium. These are the kind of friends I had, and so we. I found out that they were getting background on set with Cheers, and so I tried to see if I can get on with them, and I wasn't able to get on. So what we did instead was they took me to the live set of the Larry Sanders Show, and over there in Burbank, and we got to sit in for a few shows. It was an absolute blast. I absolutely fell in love with Larry Sanders, and just the whole, the whole reality of because it was kind of improv comedy, at its best, at its finest, and it was raw, and it was real, and it was just absolutely just hilarious, and so that show kind of like really taught me what it was really like, with being on the set and watching it. When you're on the set of Larry Sanders, you're sitting there, it's a live set, you're seeing the camera guys, you're seeing what's going on. You're seeing things that you don't normally see, that you don't normally see on TV, and so it kind of opened up a whole new world for me. And then I was able to get in and did Father of the Bride. I was an extra in Father of the Bride.
Which one? Which movie?
The very first one.
Dude, I'm a huge fan of Father of the Bride. Like, you have no idea. Like, there's part one and part two.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies as well.
How did you? What part were you in?
It was a scene that they had inside the house. It was a big party scene. Everybody was in there and they were all partying. And I was the background in that one scene. And Steve Martin and I think the daughter are walking into the house. It was a blast. It was the first time that I was on set. It was a really great time. And then, those friends of mine are the ones that kind of like set that whole thing up. They told me where to go, what talent agency to go talk to and stuff. And so I did all that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Great work. So Larry Sanders coming in for hot number 3. What about number 2?
Number 2 is a toss-up between The Wonder Years and News Radio.
If you could pick one, go ahead and just pick one.
I'm going to go with The Wonder Years because Wonder Years was just one of them shows that it was, I never really kind of lived a really normal life as a high school, a junior high kid.
Why is that?
Kind of different for me.
Yeah, why is
I
that?
don't, I was Hispanic. We weren't the most popular people on the block as far as our nationality was concerned. Uh, I kind of felt like it was an all white school, with Hispanics that were kind of struggling to be a part of, and so um, I kind of lived with that mentality for a long time, and so the Wonder Years, when you sat there and watched you kind of got a chance to relive things that you didn't get a chance to relive when you were growing up as a kid. So the Wonder Years kind of showed me and taught me a lot of the things that I wish I could have done during that period. But I later learned how to do all those things later in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, I never got a chance to play sports, and it was because we couldn't afford it. My mom, I was the black sheep of my family. I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't until after I got out of school that I started playing sports, and I found out that I was really really good at it. I got involved in basketball, football, and I was really really good at it. So I did all of that as an adult. I did all of the things that I didn't do as a high school kid. I did it all after my college years.
Wow. And Wonder Years was a big part
So
of
Wonder Years was a
letting you
big
know.
part of that. I watched it religiously, fanatically, watched it, came home, and it was just something that, it kind of taught you the values of being a human being,
Yeah.
living life as real as it gets.
Yeah, I agree. I was a huge fan of Wonder Years, actually. Just a huge fan of the Arnold family, and there's still some moments that kind of still pop into my brain here and there, just of scenes that have been like when they do their trip and they brought Paul with them. It was just I just little things.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the Wonder Years. It's really cool that you picked that, man.
And
That's
the
a gotta.
dad still speaks to me every time I see him. I think he's still alive, and I think that he's still doing roles on TV. I think I saw him just the other day. Every time I see him on TV, it still reminds me of the Wonder Years. Watching it on TV with him and his family.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so that was your top two. What's your number one?
And my number one show of all time.
Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot. Okay. Bag.
Hold on. This bag is too heavy.
I won't take a shit anymore. That's it. Hey, let me tell you fuck something!
Sit down and put the gun down!
I'm not picking up that fucking bag. Pick it up! Adios, puta. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, but if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins.
Check the bodies. Many people come up this trail?
Nah, it's too far from any real road and too many coyotes out here.
Perfect.
Got him. They going crazy.
Let's do this.
Is Weeds.
Oh my gosh, tell me why Weeds. Give us a little bit of what Weeds is about and why it's influenced you.
Well, Weeds. I was infatuated with Sarah. Just what is her name? The actress for Weeds. I always get mixed up. I know it's either Sarah. It's Jessica Parker. It's not Sarah Jessica Parker. It's one of the girls, but she's amazing, and I love her.
Mary Louise Parker, I think.
Yes, Mary Louise Parker. That's who it is, and just the whole the opening of the show with the song, is just. I mean,
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes, all the ticky tacky.
I fell in love with the whole thing, the whole concept, and it was just a happy show, and it was all about weeds. It was all about weed and how they were trying to and this whole dispensary thing really just, I think, had a lot to do with weeds in a non in a different kind of way, I mean, how things are now, dispensaries and everything, But Weeds was just one of them shows that it was family. It was all about what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish with the marijuana industry, and it was just fascinating. The life of danger, the life of living life in a moment's note. The way we live life. It's like things happen like just in the snap of a heartbeat, right in front of you,
Wow.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. Which brings us to our next part of this moment, is now going to your top 5 favorite movies of all time, starting with your 5th favorite. What would it be?
As much as I don't like Robert De Niro, I would have to say Taxi Driver.
Oh, wow. Tell us about Taxi Driver and why it's been an influence to you.
Well, it was a pretty serious movie. I think, what was her name? Jodie Foster was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the victim in this movie. And it was just a very, very insane movie. I just liked it because of the drama and because of how black and white, they showed De Niro, and it was just really one of those movies that just kind of like just sticks with you forever if you got the chance to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's classic. Definitely. Could you elaborate a little bit of like when you first saw it and what the environment was like, and what was it about Taxi Driver specifically?
Back then my mom would be the one that would take us to the movies.
Oh, wow.
We would go to wherever my mom would take, whatever movie my mom wanted to go see, that's where we would go, and so we would go. She would love these drama movies, with Liz Taylor and Richard Burton, and but to be quite honest with you, the real reason why I did go see Taxi Driver was I had seen Jodie Foster in another movie. I think it was her first movie that she came out in with Ryan. Paper Moon.
Okay.
Paper Moon, and it was with Jodie Foster and the other actor's daughter.
Okay. So you saw this and you were affected by Jodie Foster.
Yes, and so I wanted to see what because these girly actors came out and they had this kind of like Pippi Longstockings kind of attitude, and she was kind of like a tomboyish type. Both of them were in Paper Moon, and so I think their next movie was Taxi Driver for Jodie Foster, and so we went to go see that one, and it was just one of those movies that we were there for the 70s, but there was really no real particular reason why we went to go see it. It was mainly because my mom had an interest in going to see the movies.
Wow.
And she would be the dictator pretty much until I became pretty much independent,
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Back in the 70s, you got to understand, I was 12 years old.
Sure. So you got to follow with what the parents do. That's cool.
Exactly.
So Taxi Driver was a 1976 American neo-noir psychological drama thriller directed by Martin Scorsese, written by Paul Schrader, starring Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster, Sybil Shepherd, Harvey Keitel, Peter Boyle, Leonard Harris, and Albert Brooks. This was a pretty successful movie. It had a budget of $1.9 million and made $28.6 in the box office. So this was a good, successful outing for the professional legend, Mr. Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing with that. So, number 4. What's got the number 4 seat for you?
I don't know why it sticks out, but Natural Born Killers. I just the way they made the movie. Woody Harrelson and his sidekick, the gal that was with him, they just made it just so just horrific and so real and so entertaining all at the same time. I mean, there was a lot of bloodshed and a lot of things that just went on that you just never ever saw in a movie, and that movie made a huge impact because I believe it was really one of the first movies that they ever did that allowed you to see something like this, that was just so raw, that just really just shook everybody up when you saw this kind of thing, just somebody just getting blown away and blasted, as you're walking into some store. And unfortunately, it may have paved the way to where we're at in society today as well,
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about the movie if you can.
Well, Woody Harrelson and his girl, and they're out just going on a all access trip throughout the United States and just going crazy, getting what they want and doing what they want to get away with, killing everybody in front of them.
Wow, that's insane. Natural Born Killers is a 1994, a great year for movies, American crime film directed by Oliver Stone and starring Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., Tommy Lee Jones, and Tom Sizemore. This is a powerhouse movie. If you have not seen it, you need to see it. When I saw it first, I was affected by it. I had nightmares because it was so damn good. All right. It was definitely a box office success with $110 million on a $34 million budget. Oliver Stone is a god-dang legend. All right. What a great pick. Natural Born Killers. Number 3.
Well, I got to go to one of the all-time funniest movies I've seen. I don't know what it's called Weird Science, and it was with Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Anthony Hall and a bunch of other actors that kind of like that are still around, a few of them, and then the gorgeous model that was in the movie that they created. Through the use of the bra that they put on top of their head, and then they create this amazing, beautiful woman that favors these two losers that everybody just is like, wants to beat the shit out of, and including their brother Chet, who becomes one of the turds. I mean, it was a funny movie, and you saw a different side of Robert Downey Jr., because he's such a serious actor, and you never see the comedic side of him, and that was him at a very young age. I don't know if he's done very many comedy movies since then.
Who, Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. It wasn't really comedy, but it was because it was a funny movie, Weird Science. Yes, number 3.
Wow, number 3, Weird Science, coming in hot. 1985 American science fiction buddy comedy, written and directed by John Hughes, legend, starring Anthony Michael Hall, Ian Mitchell Smith, Kelly LeBlanc, and Bill Paxton and Robert Downey Jr. do make appearances in this. That's awesome. 38 million on a $7.5 million budget, so I'd say that's pretty successful. John Hughes has killed them. I'm a huge fan of John Hughes, and the producer was Joel Silver as well. John Hughes, if we haven't forgot, like 16 Candles, Plane, Trains, Automobiles. He produced Home Alone, did Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors, Beethoven, Dennis the Menace, Baby's Day Out, Vegas Vacation, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club. Wow. Dude, coming in hot. John Hughes, thanks for bringing him up, dude. Honestly, huge. All right, so let's go. Let's top 2. What you got for you two?
Well, you just named my next favorite would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh man, I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Tell me, that's the name of my younger brother who was just born last year, Ferris.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Ferris Bueller's Day Off and why it made an effect on you.
Once again, it was part of my growing up years, and this kid out of nowhere, the way they did the narration, doing the voiceover of Matthew Broderick and the whole adventure with him and his dad and his friend, and his all of his buddies and the principal, and getting away with all the shit that he got away with. I mean, it was just absolutely fabulous the way they just did it all, and I mean, it was just hilarious. It was just one of them classics of all-time classics of, being able to watch yourself, up at the Wrigley Field. I was a big fan of the Dodgers. I'm a big fan of the Dodgers. I lived in Chicago, and I was a big fan of the Cubs. And so I'm into all that. I love that nostalgia. And it goes down as one of the funniest all-time movies. Matthew Broderick, he brought it to the table. His friend is now in Succession, and he still has it as an actor.
He's still good. Yeah, I like Cam, whoever plays Cam. What is his name? Alan Ruck? No,
I'm not. I don't remember, but he's a really good guy, and
it's Alan Ruck. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ferris Bueller's Day Off is coming in hot. John Hughes, we just talked about it. This is absolute classic 1986 American teen comedy film written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, legend, and co-produced by Tom Jacobson. Film stars Matthew Broderick, Mia Sara.
Molly Ringwald fan.
Oh, she's great. Is she in this?
Well, he did one of the movies with her that you mentioned in it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Ferris Bueller's Day Off stars Matthew Broderick, Mia Sara, Alan Ruck, with supporting roles by Jennifer Grey, Jeffrey Jones, Cindy Pickett, Eddie McClurg, and Lyman Ward, which I think even Charlie Sheen makes an appearance in this movie, which makes it really great. This was a huge success, $70 million off of $5 million. It took $5 million to make Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What a freaking deal. That is amazing. That stuff just blows my mind. Wow. Okay, so what is your, what is it, number 2?
1.
Number 1. Oh, my gosh. See, look, I'm the worst host ever. I'm still learning, guys. So what is your number 1, Raf?
So my number 1 all-time favorite film is The Godfather.
Wow. What a great pick. Tell us why. Tell us about The Godfather and tell us why it means so much to you.
Because of Mario Puzo, what a great director he was. I know it took him a long time to make this movie, but when it was done, he created a masterpiece that to this day you can watch that movie over and over and over, and you'll get the same chilling effect every single time.
And Puzo was the screenwriter, but I think you're referring to Francis Ford Coppola, yes?
That's correct. Yes.
What a beautiful film. Tell us more.
Just the whole history of the mafia and the whole behind the real rawness of how he bought it with Marlon Brando, and using the cotton balls to make his cheeks look like the way they did,
changing his face, yeah, and young Michael, and it was just the drama and just the setting and the suspense, the edge of your seat. It was all there, and the way they went about doing the killings, everything taking place all at one time. The mass, the Vatican, the priest, and you see these things all taking place all at once. Yeah, the baptism of his niece. Yeah.
Well, Michael is sitting back just waiting for all these, knowing that these things are all taking. And there was no iPhones or anything like that back then, and that's what makes it even more intriguing,
Wow. Yeah, Marlon Brando was killing it in that movie. Like, do you remember seeing that movie for the first time ever and just it affecting you? That's a great
What was that?
Do you remember seeing that movie for the first time and it affecting you?
Yes. Yes. And
tell me about that.
I became infatuated. I was so infatuated with the Italian Sicilian way of life, and the way Sonny and how he went about his business, and what a tough ass he was, with all of his brothers, and then he ends up getting killed in a brutal way. I mean, it's just wow, just a lot of intense action that paved the way for the rest of the mafia movies.
It did. It really did pave a way for the organized crime movies, especially with Scorsese coming in with like Goodfellas, Casino, and stuff right after this. The Godfather was a 1972 American crime film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, legend, who co-wrote the screenplay with Mario Puzo, who based on Puzo's best-selling 1969 novel of the same name. The film stars Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Richard Costello, Robert Duvall, Sterling Hayden, John Marley, Richard Conte, and Diane Keaton. It is the first installment of the Godfather trilogy. This made 200. Holy smokes! It took 6 to 7 million to make this movie. It made 250 to 290 million. This was amazing. huge phenomenon, and this also won. This won Best Picture at the 45th Academy Awards, and it won Best Actor for Brando, Best Adapted Screenplay for Puzo and Coppola, and it had 7 other nominations as well. So this was a powerhouse movie, folks.
It was.
The Godfather.
And to this day, I still watch. I've watched it. I've watched The Godfather maybe, I think, a total of 10 times.
Wow, The Godfather is a powerhouse film. It's just there's nothing more I can really say except for wow, what a great list of movies and TV shows that you have picked on. This leads us into our next segment, where we like to showcase a lifestyle coach or a motivational author of some sort throughout the years. So who was killing it in 1971? Wait, before we do that though, I actually wanted to do something before that. I wanted to go over the top movies of 1971 and the top TV shows of 1971. So what we like to call is hotspots, right? And this is where we'll go over kind of the top 3 movies of 1971. Raf, your year was 1971, and the top movies were A Clockwork Orange, The French Connection, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Do any of these movies, do they leave an imprint on your heart in any way?
Yes, The French Connection was Gene Hackman at his finest. I mean,
so good. Won an Academy Award for best for Popeye.
Action, drama, and just this guy just had everything, and he really paved the way. Him and Steve McQueen back then, wow, yeah, just absolute action-packed drama. I absolutely loved it. I to this day, Gene Hackman is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
when he did he was a basketball coach
in Hoosiers.
Oh my God, what an amazing performance he had in that movie. But I mean, his specialty, he had everything. He could do that. He could do drama. He could do action, and he wasn't even that great of an actor. But him and Jack had that special about them. They could do anything.
Yeah, it was their attitude, definitely. French Connection was really good. Clockwork Orange, I love A Clockwork Orange. It's a classic movie. Stanley Kubrick. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, did you like that movie?
I wasn't a big fan of Willy Wonka, but I did watch it a few times. I believe it was with Gene
Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yes.
Yeah.
I did like Gene Wilder. He was a very likable guy. And that's why I watched it.
Yeah, and he's a little creepy too in that, but I think that's exactly how they wanted it to be played, was him being a little tight, little creepy. Willy Wonka, yeah, and the Chocolate Factory.
Did you ask me about my favorite all-time TV series?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we did ask you about.
Well, I want to do a 1A.
Okay, go for it.
And so that's going to be 24.
Oh yeah, with Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah,
okay.
I was really engaged into that whole thing, and I'm a big Kiefer Sutherland fan. And I wish they would bring it back. I know that he's doing something else now, but yeah, hats off to 24. I absolutely love the whole everything about it. The way they brought it to the table. I mean, you just don't see TV like that anymore.
Yeah. Wow. 24.
The countdown and everything, I don't know if you ever got a chance to see 24 or not, but
Yeah, I think I got a couple of seasons in, and I was really impressed. Absolutely, it's
but
it's
anyways,
action
going
packed.
back to my top 5 for 1971.
No. We're not going to do another top 5. So we were just kind of going over the top ones that the really the box office hits and the top 3. It's A Clockwork Orange, French Connection, and Willy Wonka. These were like the top movies in 1971. So the top TV shows of 1971 are All in the Family, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, and The Persuaders. So, are any of those shows do you
I
hit?
used to watch All in the Family. Was a big religious thing for us. It was just one of those Gilligan. I think it was after Gilligan's, and then Dark Shadows, and then All in the Family. All in the Family. As much as I hated him, we watched it religiously. It was just a funny show. That was just that got serious at times as well. And it got a little controversial at times as well because of the way he was, with Meathead, and so Sonny and Cher we grew up with, they were just coming out in '62, and I Got You, Babe, and 500 Miles. We would hear their LP, when it came out, and then they created their show, the Sonny and Cher show. And I remember me and my brothers and sisters, and we would have this little talent show, and I would dress up as Sonny, and my sister would be Cher because she had the long hair, and we would come out and start singing and stuff. It was crazy. But Sonny and Cher were great. I mean, they were fantastic to watch. It was a heartbreak to hear when Sonny passed, and the way it happened. He was just a great entertainer. I really loved their show. They had a big impact in my life. I don't know anything about the Persuaders.
Okay, yeah, well, interesting, but because it was top in 1971. But
who was the Persuaders with?
That's a good question. I should probably know this. Let's see. Let's look it up. Persuaders.
I have never even heard of it.
TV show.
That is wild.
All right, The Persuaders is a British action comedy television series starring Tony Curtis and Roger Moore, which was a James Bond, and it was produced by ITC Entertainment and initially broadcast on ITV and ABC in 1971. The show was called the last major entry in the cycle of adventure series that began 11 years earlier with The Danger Men in 1960. As well as the most expensive of Sir Lewis Grade's international action adventure series, The Persuaders, and this was filmed in Britain, France, and Italy between 1970 and 71. So but I mean, go check it out, guys. If you don't have anything that you want to do and you want to check out a action adventure comedy, check it out. Tony Curtis. Roger Moore. Wow, powerful. Learning new things every day. All right, so this is going to take us into our next segment, and this is going to be our, again, segment, as I pre-mentioned, about a lifestyle coach. Now, in 1971, who was killing it? Werner Erhard. Born John Paul Rosenberg in 1935, is an American author and lecturer best known for creating the EST, Earnhardt Seminar Training Program, and the Landmark Forum. So these personal development programs launched in the 1970s focused on empowering individuals to transform their lives by breaking through self-imposed limitations. Earnhardt's methods involve intense and confrontational group sessions which aimed to challenge a participant's belief and thought patterns. Although the EST program is no longer active, its successor, the Landmark Forum, continues to operate and has influenced numerous self-help and personal growth movements. Earhart work has been met with both praise and criticism as he remains a controversial figure in the field of personal development. Have you ever heard of William Earhart? Werner?
I have not. I never have heard of the man. Nope.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of motivational authors or speakers that you follow that you would like to shout out?
To be honest with you, I don't.
Well, let me give you one of my favorite. Tony Robbins is top notch. If you ever just want to check out some of his stuff on YouTube, he's pretty well famous. He was in Shallow Hal, known as like Banana Hands from Jack Black. But he has great motivational stuff. If you haven't already, it's just amazing stuff to get you jazzed up and jived up about just whatever. So Tony Robbins, we talk about him a lot on here, but so people wouldn't hopefully know who he is. But
I've heard of him. I have, and I've heard of the walking on fire thing.
Yeah, the Coles. Yeah.
But yeah. I never did when I first when I went to school at the DeVry, I went on this retreat, and it's similar to what Aaron Rodgers did.
Mm-hmm.
Not as intense, I think Rodgers pretty much was in a dark environment for like the whole, I don't know how long.
Oh, wow.
Well, with this retreat that you go to, you're blindfolded the entire time that you're there. And it's pretty wild.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's out in the wilderness.
Oh my gosh.
But you have somebody there that's, you have somebody to guide you and help you to go where you're going,
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
It kind of like, humans are fascinated by human behavior, and so they went to different lengths and different extents to figure things out, and this is one of the things that they did back in the 70s. I don't know if they still do it anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Powerful. Well, if you don't, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you don't have anything to check out Tony Robbins' "I'm Not Your Guru." It's like a documentary. It was made in 2016. It was directed by Joe Berlinger. It goes behind the scenes of Tony Robbins' annual seminar Date with Destiny in like Boca Raton, Florida. So it's kind of like the behind the scenes of like what happens there, and it really kind of gets you like, oh wow, this is actually how it goes. And an acclaimed director who did like Metallica's Some Kind of Monsters, which was an acclaimed movie. And Tony Robbins is just solid. I would say give it a shot if you have nothing else to do and you want to get a little jazzed up. Absolutely. So in our wrap up, because this is kind of where we go to our wrap up part, is there any moments that you want to kind of touch on and talk about and just kind of sum up any of the movies or shows that have taught you or touched you throughout your life, and any kind of last remarks that you'd like to say to the audience or any of your fans out there listening?
I'm so glad. I wish I could have known earlier in life that I had the skills to be an actor. I could have been acting for years and years and years, and I found out later in life that I've got what it takes, to be a good actor. And I'm thankful though, because I'm thankful that I got a chance to see all of these different shows, because we grew up in a different era in time that current folks are living in. They didn't get a chance to see all these shows that we watched. A lot of these millennials and a lot of these folks that from the 2000s on have not really. I mean, how are they going to go back and live what we lived?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that.
Just reruns.
And so they have reruns, and they have what they went through. But what we went through, it was a special time because that was just the beginning, and we got to see all that, and it gives you a better appreciation of where we're at today and how far we've come from where we were back then to where we are now.
Wow.
It's amazing, and to be able to be a part of it, to be able to be on set, to be able to be a production assistant, and feel. And do the things that some of these folks have been doing for years and years and years on television is absolutely mind-boggling. And I get to be a part of it in some way, fashion, or the other, whether it be acting or behind the scenes.
That's amazing.
And I'm loving it.
Wow.
I'm loving it. I'm really thankful and grateful and humbled.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. So I like to surprise our guests before we end. So I've actually emailed you something. If you can actually take a look at your email on your computer or on your phone real quick. And nobody knows about this. It's always a surprise. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let me know when you got it.
Okay. The French Connection.
That's right. We're going to read a quick scene from The French Connection. Hopefully you're ready. You are going to play Popeye. Your label is guest as Popeye, and I'm going to be the host as Cloudy. All right. Are you ready, sir?
Hold on a second.
Ho, ho, ho. It's a frozen...
You're the host and I'm the guest?
You're the guest. I'm the host. You're Popeye.
Okay.
I'm Cloudy. Are you ready?
Oh,
Okay. Interior bar, night. Popeye Doyle and Cloudy Russo are at a bar discussing their ongoing investigation into a major drug smuggling operation.
Cloudy, I've got a gut feeling about this case. There's something big going down, and we need to be on top of it.
We've been working nonstop, Popeye. Are you sure this is a lead worth pursuing?
Well, I know it's a big haul, but we've got to be pushing on this now. So this could be the break that we've been waiting for, and I'm not going to let this slip away.
All right, Popeye. I trust your instincts. So what's the next move?
We need to tighten the net around these guys. Keep the pressure on. Follow every lead. Stay close. Sooner or later, they'll make a mistake. And when they do, we're going to be there to nail them.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Let's get to work. All right, man. Good job. Good job. Raf coming in. Gene Hackman vibes. I felt it for sure. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Raf. Do you have anything... Was it fun? Did you like it? I always like to throw these in there.
Cool.
You did a good job. You
really
killed
like
it.
that.
Awesome.
I like that a lot. It kind of like gets you on your, out of your comfort zone.
I do it with the filmmakers too, so they're not actors, so they everybody gets to be a little bit out of their zone.
Very cool.
Love it, man. You did a great job. Is there anything that you would like to just what do you got going on? Do you have any movies going on or any projects that you would like to shout out? Now's your time.
Well, I'm waiting for a few things on your end.
Yes. Trail of Blood, starring Trail of Blood. Mike, that's a Michael Ross movie. I'm producing that and DPing it. That's going to be out really soon.
And I'm currently working on the production set of Dark Ops and hoping to be a part of their next episode series, which is going to be coming up. And I'll be a PA, lead PA.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they like me a lot. Everything went well with episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
They were completely just fascinated by me, and they want to open up a role for me. And yeah,
Great.
Things are going really good with Dark Ops.
Love it. And they can find you on Instagram?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at raf02. I'm doing just little here and there's for everyone. I just things are just popping up left and right. And I'm just really thankful and grateful and humbled by everything.
Amazing.
I'll get
Thank
a commercial every now and then. I got a commercial that's coming out with Archwell United Healthcare that I'm waiting to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a full conversation with me and another guy. So the NV Energy commercial that I was in just came out a couple weeks ago. And so, yeah, I'm really excited.
Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And so as we come to an end of another wild ride through the reels of time with Flashback Montage, it's been a hell of a trip, my friends. And we've revisited the most iconic movies, TV shows, and cultural moments of the past with a fresh, irreverent eye. We've laughed, we've cried, and maybe even learned a thing or two along the way, but the journey never truly ends, does it? So there's always another year, another moment, and a time to explore. So keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, and your heart receptive, and join us again next week for another installment of Flashback Montage. Until then, stay weird, stay curious, and keep the nostalgia alive, folks. Thank you so much, Raf, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.